Can you talk into this? Is that all right?
Hey.
Yeah, okay. I'm really lucky to have Freddie here to read. This is a conversation that we actually had, Fred and I, when Fred was about 4 years old, and it was a conversation that I recorded in my blog, Eglantine's Cake. And when I knew I was going to launch this book, I asked Freddie if she would read this conversation out with me, and she said yes, because she's very brave, and I want to thank her for coming up here. It's a conversation that we had just after listening to our heartbeats.
What does it mean?
It means my heart is busy pumping blood all over my body. It means I'm alive, and so are you.
What happens when you get these people again?
Which people?
These people.
Another person just like you?
Yes.
That never happens. You're unique. There is only one little girl like you in the whole world. Just one Frederique.
Oh, please.
Thanks, Freddie. So that conversation reminded me of my own feelings that I used to have when I was a girl, about where I used to lie in bed and think that the world was so big and it had so many people in it, and it had been around for such a long time, that there must be another person exactly like me somewhere. And I didn't even mean just someone who's kind of genes are kind of thrown up the same person, but I meant me, another me, somewhere in the world, living another life, but somehow a copy of me, which is actually a theme that has come up in other films. And I remember the film Double Life of Veronique, which I went to see when I was about 16 or 17, and didn't speak for about an hour afterwards because I was so blown away by how powerful it was, but I was also trying to work out what the hell was going on. So that idea of doubles was something I really wanted to explore. And the other thing that was happening in my life when I started thinking up Only Ever Always was that I was writing a thesis at Melbourne Uni about fairy tales and melancholy, and I was thinking a lot about objects, the objects that are important to us. And, you know, especially now that capitalism seems to have come to this crisis point, and the material wealth that we have and the things that we live with, there seems to be so many things. How do you work out what matters and what doesn't? And when we're all objects as well, you know, and Clara and Claire are kind of loved or desired or wanted little girls. And so in a way they're objects of desire, just like the music box that carries them from one world to the other. And how do they make sense of themselves, and how do they find their own value? And that was very much about, you know, a mother writing about her daughters as well. And so Fred and Una are very much in this book. And in the last sort of rewrite, Avery managed to worm his way in as well. And so they're all there, all my family, and Martin's there as well. You know, the voices in my head that kind of come from the people around me who I love. There's lots of people here today that, you know, I feel a bit overwhelmed and grateful at how many of you are here from so many different parts of my life. And one of the people who's here is someone who's known me, you know, the longest, or two of the people here, Ella and Sue. Ella is my cousin, and we grew up very close and playing, and play is a huge part of who I am as a writer. So it's kind of really special that Ella's here, and I know Steph is on her way, so she might be somewhere back there, or she might still be on her way, as Steph is want to be sometimes. And yeah, so I'm really glad you made it, and I'm really glad you made it too. So I'm just going to read a bit of the book, because I feel like if I keep talking about people, I might cry. So I'm going to read you a little bit of this novel that I've been writing for a very long time. And it starts in Clara's world, and I think you'll notice the slip into Claire's world, because as Kate said, Claire's world's in second person. I had a dream, Groom tells. It was you and me. We was travelling to make something new, a beginning. He lays his hand on mine, and I twitch with the warmth of it. Would you? I pull my hand away. This now? Someday, some night or other. And where would we be going? Where is there to go where there's beginnings? Groom's still dreaming, looking past what is into his imaginings. In my dream, we cross the river. Crossing the river is the kind of mad thing Groom would say. Groom who can't always tell the difference between folly and sense. I think about the dank, sickly greenness, the greasy things that hunt in the river's shadow. What about dogs? What about trick currents and sinkholes and ending up with a stomach full of mud? Them's the stories what happen when you try and cross the river. Them's the stories we know, Clara. Ones what tried and couldn't. There's others who drowned to the bottom, I scoff. Or didn't. Ain't no one who's been across the river returned. Maybe they found something better. What's the point, I say, and I won't look at the sparkling hope in his eyes, the same rich murk as the river, of going nowhere. We ain't like Andrew. We ain't got an afore or an after. This is what we know. Andrew, spit scream. Across the river might be adventure. Across the river might be freedom. In the deep of me, I wouldn't mind an adventure, but I ain't laying myself bare to groom. Not when he's in a mood for calling folly sense. And I ain't giving myself over to hoping. Hoping is what unstitches you, leaving you open for other things to waft in, like fear, like hopelessness. And ain't I free, I grump? Nobody tells me what to do. Funny sort of freedom. You got more bosses than you can imagine, lording over us, waiting for us to step out of the shadows so they can make their sport of us, or use us to do their work. All right then. Not for adventure if you ain't got the gut for it. But say you'll come with me anyway. For the dreaming of it. Just for dreaming. Dreams are nothing. Not even air. You wake up and pop. Like a greasy soap bubble, they're gone. Dreams don't matter none. They don't last. Sometimes they matter, tells Green, but fadingly. He sounds distant, uncertain. Sometimes they last. Claire, Mum calls from the bottom of the stairs, and the dream dissolves. You sit up and blink. The dream took you by surprise, clear and resounding as a bell, as though it were waiting for you all along. Littered on your bed are oddments, junk, bric-a-brac, the assorted miscellanea of your life, one-eyed dolls and threadbare teddy bears, 2 wooden ducks on wheels, once joined, now split, metal cars, wooden tops, most of indeterminate value, things without history, but for the fact that they have lived here so long they have become part of you, and you couldn't bear to excise any of them. You were supposed to be sorting through the cacophony of things that clutter your bedroom, the things you call treasures, you who never throws anything away, who has held everything dear that has come into your possession from babyhood. Tonight Uncle Charlie and his wife Pia are coming to dinner. Soon their first baby will be born, and Mum thinks it would be nice if you pass on some of the toys you've outgrown, but you are not sure it is possible to outgrow the things that have built you from nothing into something. For who are you before you own anything? A naked grub, a nothing. There is a weight in your arms. You have slept holding the music box to your chest. In fact, it was the rise and fall of the music box tune that made you drift off in the first place. It isn't truly a box, but a glass globe containing a miniature world which slowly revolves as the music plays. A few stray notes spring free as you place the music box on your bedside table, and for a moment you catch a strong odour wafting out of your dream, a smell of dampness and forgetting. The music box was your first treasure. Charlie bought it for you when you were just new. You know that there would be a certain poetry in passing it on to his baby, like a family heirloom that may perhaps one day wend its way back to your baby. But it is yours, so very yours, a part of the being of you. How can you relinquish it? How can you let any of these precious things go? They are all you. Want to do some quick thank yous. I want to thank my wonderful publishers, Alan and Unwin, especially Jodie and Susanna and Elise, who all gave wonderful feedback and helped make the book, you know, be what it is. And Eva Mills, who has believed in this book for 4 years. And I remember saying to her 4 years ago, oh, you know, I've got this great idea for a novel and I have it written before Christmas. So, you know, 4 Christmases later, here it is. But she helped me kind of, you know, chisel the stone and find the story that I wanted to tell. And she always kind of understood Clara and helped me understand Claire, who was perhaps the more enigmatic child for me. And maybe that's because she's the real girl, and I understand the dreamer better than I understand the dream better than I understand the dreamer. But I really want to thank Readings for having us here today.